Hey Leo, this is Michael with your February 2022 reading. I do hope that this finds you well and in good spirits. I have all of my links in the description box down below if you're looking for a Reiki session or reading with me. I want to thank all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. YouTube loves that and it helps this channel grow, so thank you for your support. And you can also follow me on my other social media platforms. Again, all of my links are down below. I actually have all of your cards pulled out on the table here, and the first card that I pulled was this Knight of Wands. And this is really interesting because I feel like there was a lot of doing and a lot of action in the past. This could be talking about January, this could even be talking about longer, your life overall perhaps, where there's just been a lot of kind of going after the things that feel good, or going after the things that are exciting, or fill you with passion. And it feels like that is starting to shift, or that is something that has kind of had to shift recently. We've had Mercury and Venus retrograde. Venus will actually be going direct on the 29th of January. Mercury is going direct on the 4th of February. Both of these planets are in Capricorn after being in Aquarius. They retrograded. So there may have been this focus on relationships, on the public, on connecting with other people, and it kind of went back inward and maybe needing to take care of yourself, have better routines. There's a lot that is changing with your career perhaps this year, or your role in the world, and that will kind of play some notes this month as well, as we have certain planets, Pluto and Mercury, forming trines with Uranus and the North Node in Taurus. So there really is a lot of things that are going to be kind of happening for you there, and maybe following your passion in that way, or in the areas you followed your passion in, there could be a lot of transformation and almost figuring out what's in alignment for you with the Chariot. Because when I think of the Chariot, it is very much about being determined and moving forward with determination. And this is kind of energy that you've been in. However, the Chariot also implores that there is balance. We can't just rush into something without making sure that things are aligned first. There is this light and dark. There is a balance that needs to be struck. And again, just this idea of alignment with the wheels, finding your alignment. I feel like a lot of you have found your alignment by figuring out what doesn't work for you. That might have been coming up a lot in the last month, and that could be pretty much anything. That could be about relationships, that could be about life purpose, that could be about your routines, your health. That was kind of an important thing, and will continue to be an important thing. Your wellness throughout February, that is something to focus on. But we do start off with a new moon in Aquarius this month. And this new moon is happening on the 1st, in the very early hours, right after midnight, at least on the eastern coast of the US. And it is being joined with Saturn in Aquarius. And there is this strong sense of commitment. Saturn is often associated with restrictions, with lessons. But the way I really think of Saturn from a more balanced perspective is that Saturn is taking away what isn't meant for us. It is kind of the stone grinder or the stone tumbler that is polishing off the rough edges and smoothing out these stones so they can really shine. That is what Saturn gives us, and this process can be a little bit painful at times. However, with Saturn and this new moon working together, this signifies a time of new commitments. There could be new relationships. There could be new, kind of, I guess, an approach or perspective on the way that you relate to other people, whether that is romantic, professional, or just the way that you show up in other people's lives, or you have them show up in yours. It's a time to really heal, or to set new patterns, and to manifest new relationships and attachments. And it's very interesting. You kind of had this energy really coming fast out of the gate here with the Knight of Wands and the Chariot card. And maybe there is a tendency to rush into relationships. Maybe there is a tendency to rush into things. You are a fire sign, Leo, after all, and we love you for that. You have a lot of zest and passion, or you need that in order to really thrive. You need that fire. We need your fire. But I think there's almost something about tempering the flame that seems important. And I see with the star and the moon showing up here, beautiful, beautiful energy, very symbolic of this new moon to me. Because the star represents Aquarius energy, and obviously the moon is very lunar. It is also Pisces energy, however. There is this focus on really aiming something here, finding your target with the moon, with Artemis, aiming her bow, and connecting spiritually. Like, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really want to commit yourself to? Who do you really want to commit yourself to? What do you want those commitments to look like? That's really important for you to think about at the start of this month in particular. And we are in Aquarius season throughout most of February, and we have a lot of planets that will be entering into Aquarius even as we are entering into Pisces season. So there's still a lot of things about commitments, partnership, connecting with other people, and really sharing yourself in a very vulnerable way, especially as we get into that Pisces energy. It's almost like sorting through the closet kind of energy for you. It's not always the most fun. Really kind of depends on how you look at it, though. There could even be... I'm almost getting the sense of some of you questioning your sexuality or coming into terms with your sexuality. That might be something that's kind of important as well. Just with that 8th house energy, with that Piscean energy, I could potentially see that. And I'm kind of feeling that. That could be thematic for you as well. But really, I see a lot of spiritual energy. You're actually very intuitive this month as well. And something I've noticed for myself as a Virgo, I often feel like I'm most intuitive during Pisces season, or when there's planets moving through Pisces. There's just something about that other that helps us connect with other people. So you could be very intuitive. You could be very psychic this month, actually. And maybe that's why things are slowing down. And we are kind of shifting gears in February. Things have been really blocky or interrupted in January with Venus and Mercury retrograde, and now that is shifting. And these planets are actually going to be going back into Aquarius. Mercury will actually be going into Aquarius in around the 14th, in the middle of the month, and then Venus will be going into Aquarius not until March. But we're kind of in this catch-up period. And I feel like a lot of you are actually going to be meditating. A lot of you are actually going to be focused on how you move through your day-to-day, setting time for yourself to do ritual or to meditate or to just be more mindful. I actually kind of get this with the blue damselfly, one of the animal cards I pulled to you. I'll talk about this more in a moment. But there might just be the shifting direction, and it's kind of coming into center for you now. I do have the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords coming out. And this is interesting because there's a lot of thoughtful energy. There's a lot of disciplined energy, actually. And it feels very different from the energy we had starting off this reading. The Queen of Swords in particular is very, very calculated. As is the Page of Pentacles, but Page of Pentacles is more about study, learning things, really looking at things closer. And when I look at this specific Page of Pentacles, I look at him looking at this pentacle. It almost reminds me of a mirror, because this card is quite reflective, it's quite iridescent. There's something you are reflecting on. And there could be just this change that you're making to your life. I think it's important for you to get really serious about what it is that you want. That specifically feels prominent in your relationships, but I think just overall in career as well. Again, that's just going to be a big focus for you this year with all of this Taurian energy that we are experiencing. We also have a full moon in your sign on the 16th. And that is going to be happening the same day that Mars and Venus will be closest in conjunction. So there's a lot of passion, potentially, but there's also a lot of focus on, I almost get like, the way you take care of yourself, maybe like beauty routines or something like that, doing something for your appearance, taking care of your appearance, pampering yourself a little bit more. I actually kind of get that. Especially with that full moon energy, you're getting a nice big energy boost or a lot of light shining on you. And wherever the sun is really important for you because the sun rules your chart. It rules your sign. Especially if you are a Leo rising, it's super, super important to pay attention to what the sun is doing. But regardless of your Leo placement, the sun is currently in your house of relationships. It's in Aquarius. It's in the 7th house, your descendant. And there's a lot of focus about what's the relationship that works for me? What are the people that work for me? Who do I gel with? Who can I connect with? And I think this Queen of Swords is very good at drawing boundaries that you may need to draw, especially if you do need to take care of other things in your life. And you don't need to be so worried about losing people. I feel like the people who matter are going to stay with you. And as we are entering into Pisces season, which will happen on the 18th, shortly after this full moon in your sign, we are going in deeper for you. It is your 8th house. There are secrets and shadows that you're going to be exploring and things you're going to be seeing that might surprise you. And with the Two of Wands, it could change the way you think about your future, actually. But I feel like there is this thing where you're charting a course. I actually want to clarify, why is the Two of Wands here? Let's get some more insight. Why is the Two of Wands here? Two of Swords. There's like a decision that you want to make, but you're afraid to, perhaps? I definitely get the need to make a decision. Whenever I see twos, there's often kind of a decision or commitment that needs to be made. And it's like trying to feel something out, trying to see something that you can't quite see. I really get the sense too, I'm just going to be honest, don't ignore like red flags in anything. You know what's going to work for you. You know when you're lying to yourself at this point. You know when you're kind of being impulsive with things. You know what is and is not in alignment. The Chariot is actually your card. And I think some of you are afraid to be decisive or make a decision because it might mean cutting something out or having a hard conversation. But I think you know you need to have it. And it's almost like you're kind of dragging your feet in the sand here. But I think ultimately a lot of you are finally just being direct. Saying what needs to be said or doing what needs to be done. And again, the Two of Swords does make me feel like there is this very strong intuitive connection. This woman is quite literally meditating. And feeling things out. Yeah, I feel like you're very, very intuitive this month. I want to tell you that. And the cards I have for you, the animal cards, we had the blue damselfly, which again is communing with nature. We talked about this card briefly before. I think of damselfly as also changing direction, as is dragonfly. Connecting with water in specific seems important because you also have the sea turtle, and this is find your element. I feel like there's just this thing for you where there's a lot of maturity that is happening for you this month. And you're really seeing how you've grown or how you've changed or how you've ripened into yourself more. Communing with nature, I think, is really, really just always a great message. I feel like I talk about it a lot in my readings, but I get the sense connecting with nature in some way. I'm living in upstate New York. It's super snowy and cold. It's not been very inviting to go outdoors right now. If you're in a similar climate like me, or you're just unable to connect to nature directly in that way for whatever reason, connecting with plants, connecting with gemstones, connecting with anything that has a connection to nature and having a relationship to that is really, really important. I also do think of damselfly and dragonfly as very intuitive because they do have this connection to air and water. And when I think of those sorts of fae-like energies, they're very mischievous, and we almost need to calm ourselves. What is the state of your mind like? How is your mind being affected by your emotions, and vice versa? How do your thoughts influence your emotions? I really feel like meditation just in general is very important, and maybe you're doing that with nature or in nature in some way. And then finding your element, sea turtle. There's a lot of wisdom here. And it actually reminds me of the moon. And oftentimes the moon does indicate a lot of heightened emotions, but I'm not actually getting that vibe here. It feels like there's something very spiritual, or you have perspective on your emotions. You're still experiencing your emotions. It's not to say that you're not emotional, but you're also witnessing them in kind of a removed Aquarian sort of way. You're seeing things from a higher perspective. You're able to ride these currents. And with finding your element, that feels very reminiscent of this Chariot card to me, coming from the Knight of Wands, which is very just kind of going into whatever seems exciting, growing into this Chariot, which is about being more focused with where you place your energy or what you put your energy in. And I think that's part of finding your element, okay? And it's interesting, you are a fire sign, but you're very watery to me this month. There's definitely a lot of Aquarius energy here, with the star, and even with this Queen of Swords. We do also have Cancer energy with the Chariot and the Moon. Both of those are Cancer cards. But I really feel like you're kind of embodying these elements yourself. And if you have placements, Cancer or Aquarius or Pisces placements in your chart, it's really important that you kind of work with those this month. I'm kind of getting that. Because that new moon is going to be very activating for you right at the beginning of the month. Whatever you have in Aquarius specifically is going to be really lit up. And that is specifically 27 degrees of Aquarius. Actually, I believe that is the full moon. That is 27 degrees. I would Google what the exact degree of this new moon is. There could be something there that's helpful for you. You might have a planet or a placement very close to that degree to work with. That just feels really important. And again, I feel this very strong spiritual connection. And even though the moon represents tides, even though the moon represents emotions and how things are constantly changing within us, how we're always in this storm, or in this whatever our emotions are doing, we're just in the middle of them. I see you as this archer. You have this focus. You don't let the inner currents pull away from your inner vision. And I think that's also why you're very intuitive this month. Very interesting reading, Leo. You're going to have to let me know how this is resonating for you, where this is landing for you in your life. I would love to hear that. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and you're welcome to check out the videos for your other readings if this didn't quite resonate or you'd like greater clarity on something. Check the videos for your moon or rising sign. There might be something there for you as well. And I will see you all in the next month. I'm wishing you a very happy February. Take care.